We are getting some breaking news out of the Defense Department. The department saying it is calling off that $10 billion Jedi cloud contract. The department releasing a statement a short time ago saying that due to evolving requirements, increased cloud conversancy and industry advances, the Jedi cloud contract no longer meets its needs. And of course, we're watching Microsoft and Amazon on the back of this. Remember that the contract was awarded to Microsoft, but of course there were legal issues stemming from that, concerns about whether in fact Amazon didn't necessarily get the contract because of the Trump administration stepping in here. But Brian, this is certainly a big news story because we saw shares of Microsoft really get a big bump on the back of this on the initial announcement. It sounds like the Pentagon is saying, look, we still need enterprise scale cloud capability. So it doesn't sound like the story is over yet. And yet we're still talking about a $10 billion contract being canceled.
Yeah, a huge contract being canceled, but you do wonder to what degree maybe this is the Department of Defense trying to back off of having to choose winners and losers, which it did have to do in 2019 when it ultimately, as you mentioned, picked Microsoft over Amazon. Some political chatter at the time, again, as you mentioned, about whether or not that was because the Trump administration was had bad blood, essentially, with Amazon and its owner, Jeff Bezos. Now, Jedi, by the way, stands for Joint Enterprise Defense Infrastructure. This $10 billion contract was supposed to involve some sort of porting over to cloud infrastructure, which we know Microsoft and Amazon have been the real competitors in that space. But again, them canceling this contract doesn't mean necessarily that the DoD is shying away from that technology, merely rather that they'd like to perhaps overhaul the process by which and the protocol by which they try to vet prospective contractors to ultimately take on this type of technology. So a space definitely worth watching, not just for the DoD, but for both Amazon, Microsoft, and maybe other cloud computing providers as well in the future.
Yeah, you have to wonder if there's a bit of a reset that's happening over at the Defense Department. But we've seen some stock moves on the back of that. Of course, Amazon was already up on the back of Andy Jassy's very first day as CEO at the company. But you see Microsoft dipping slightly here, down about 0.8%.